Welcome to Resume Writing Tips and Tricks. This tutorial will help you in the process of writing a eye-catching resume that is not too long, but that will contain all the information a future employer will need to know about you. Maybe you've just finished writing your resume, or maybe you're just starting. Either way, you could probably use some quick resume pointers. It's easy to overlook things when you're stressed or worried about finding a job, and the best tips help you remember the smallest details of resume writing. You can find resume templates on Microsoft Word. They have free templates available that allows the user to fill in their information. Microsoft Word is available on all library computers, and we welcome you to come and use the computers to write your resume, as well as use our other databases for job search. So the first thing you want to do is open Word, and that is the screen on the right, and that's what will load. That's the page where you will land. You want to find the right templates to fit your resume, so type resumes in the search box at the top of the screen. You will get a list of resume templates that will load, and search through the templates and pick a design that you like, that looks professional, that best fits your style of resume. An important tip when choosing a template: a resume should be one page most of the time. If you get too wordy and have more than 2 pages, your resume is probably going to go in the trash. One-page resumes are recommended for those candidates with just a few years of work experience and those who are only starting out on the job market. Your resume can be longer than 1 page only when you have 10+ years of experience or a lot of relevant professional achievements. I wouldn't go any longer or recommend any longer resume than 2 pages. 1 if possible. 1 page versus 2. A 1-page resume can reflect your information in a cleaner, more succinct manner that employers will appreciate. Cognitive writing skills will help you deliver the same information, but in an easy-to-read format. Compare the before resume to the after. Which one looks more pleasing to the eye? It's the after, because there's less to look at, there's more white space, but yet all the information an employer needs is there. Trim any unnecessary fat from your resume. This is important. Having problems keeping the length of your resume in check, make sure every word you've used is necessary. Keep your bulleted points to 6 at most, and trim your resume summary or your skills section without killing the value of your resume. And kill any extra sections that aren't mandatory. As I said, choose a resume format that works for you. What are the best formats for a resume? Well, that depends. There are 3 types of resume formats. There's the Reverse-Chronological, the combination, or the functional or skill-based resume. Deciding what resume format to choose will be one of the first things you do. Most of you will opt for the Reverse-Chronological format. It's the most common, and you can play with the layout. The worst is probably the functional resume format. It's not a good choice because it kills your experience section, and even if you don't have experience, that's not the best way to handle it. The pros of chronological resume: it highlights experience and achievements, easy to scan, and it's ATS scannable. And that ATS is an applicant tracking system that most employers use. A functional resume highlights your skills. It's good for creatives with a varied portfolio. The combination resume highlights your skills and experience, masks gaps in unemployment, and it is ATS scannable. The cons of a chronological resume: requires consistent formatting, exposes gaps in employment. The cons of a functional resume is difficult to scan, conceals your experience, and it doesn't track through an applicant tracking system. And the cons of a combination resume is only for highly specialized professionals and is hard to format and organize. So, use the reverse chronological order format. That means start from your most recent job and work your way back. For your experience section, put your current job first, and for your education section, put your highest degree first. The format of your resume matters. Choose a template that will catch the attention of a potential employer. Notice the resume on the right highlights the name of the applicant with an eye-catching background and bigger font. So you can see John Smith better on the right than the left. Employers will be less likely to discard a resume that reflects a professional appearance. There are mandatory resume sections. Standard resume categories include contact information, resume summary or resume objective, work experience section, education section, and skills section. Choose unique resume sections that best reflect the professional things you've done. Don't add every possible resume section to your resume, including the kitchen sink. Optional resume sections and additional ones categories that you can use are awards and honors, volunteer work, certifications and licenses, projects, hobbies and interests, qualifications, extracurricular activities, accomplishments, associations, publications, languages, training, or conferences. You can even break your resume section down into different categories by personal skills, management skills, technical skills, computer skills, or additional skills. A pro tip is there are some resume sections that you no longer need to put on a resume. One such section is the resume reference section. Hiring managers know they can ask you for references. You no longer need to put that information on your resume. Lose the phrase references available upon request. It is no longer necessary to place this phrase at the bottom of your resume. As they know, as I said previously, hiring managers know they can request your list of references. Adding it only takes up valuable space that you could use for something else. Create a professional email address. Out of all the resume building tips listed, this may seem too obvious, but it's worth mentioning because the use of an unprofessional email address will get you rejected 76% of the time. So if you haven't already done so, ditch that email address you've been using since high school. Choose a professional email provider like Gmail or Outlook and use your name. A right format of an email address is john.smith@gmail.com. Wrong would be johnlikesgrapes@hotmail.com. John Likes Grapes is very unprofessional. Update your contact information. After you change your email address, make sure the rest of your contact information on your resume is up to date. You don't want to miss an interview because you put the wrong phone number on your resume. Also, exclude information like birth date and marital status. You do not have to respond to questions about religion, race, or gender on an application. U.S. employers cannot take these aspects into consideration when assessing you. If you're applying for a job out of state or country, also consider omitting your current address. That way, a hiring manager won't think you're confused about the location of the job. Set your font size to 10 to 12 points. While choosing a font is important, make sure that it is the right size. Keep your resume font size between 10 and 12 points so that the hiring manager can easily read it without squinting. Choose an attractive and readable font. You may think resume fonts are trivial in the larger scheme of things, but the right font is going to do a lot for your resume. Stick to fonts that sound like names of hipster children like Verdana, Arial, and Helvetica. If you choose a font that's hard to read or childish, a hiring manager might lose your resume in the trash. Don't use Comic Sans, Papyrus, or Curls MT. Align content to the left to make it easier to skim. The first thing a hiring manager is going to do is skim your resume for relevant keyword from the description. Aligning your text to the left makes this easier for them to do. Make sure you make strategic use of bold, caps, and italics. Be consistent with your choices. If you made one of your subheadings bold, make them all bold. Try not to overuse anything. The point is to make important information easier for a future employer to find. Only add jobs you've had in the past 10 to 15 years. You do not need to list every job you've ever had on your resume. Make sure you go back on your resume no more than 10 to 15 years. Give your resume sections simple subheadings. Regardless of what layout you choose, make your resume sections visible and easy to find, and you can do that by giving them simple subheadings. For example, the right subheadings would be resume summary, experience, education, and skills. You'll want to write simple subheadings for all sections that you include in your resume. That way, the ATS or applicant tracking system software can find them. The wrong subheadings would be about me, accreditations, or professional background and work history. Include URLs to social media profiles, personal websites, and blogs. If you have a professional website or blog, include the URL in your contact section. Add any relevant social media handles as well. For most professionals, that will include your LinkedIn URL and your Twitter handle. Creative professionals could also consider adding relevant links to Instagram, YouTube, or Pinterest profiles. Take an extra couple of minutes to make sure that your URLs are live and to hyperlink them in the text so they are accessible. Tailor your resume to the job description. This is the king of resume tips. If you do nothing else, tailor your resume to the job description or the job that you are applying for. You do that by identifying key word skills in the offer and then add these skills throughout your resume. It sounds like a lot of work, but these keywords are what you should put on your resume above all else. That's because keywords are what hiring managers are looking for when they scan your resume. Use a proofreading tool like Grammarly. You cannot afford to have typos or grammar errors in your resume. The majority, 61% of recruiters, will throw out a resume immediately if they see typos. Microsoft Word or Google Docs will do a good job of detecting spelling errors, but the Grammarly app or language tool will catch grammar mistakes and typos. You need to proofread your resume before sending it out, and an app will help you catch things you can't see. But human proofread is very helpful. Apps are great for catching mistakes, but another human is priceless. Grab whoever you can find with the patience to read through your resume. They can also give you feedback about the tone of your resume and how you're selling yourself. Make sure you match your cover letter to your resume. The two best cover letter tips are write a cover letter and match the content of your cover letter to your resume. Yes, you will need to write a cover letter, and yes, they need to match your resume so that you're telling the hiring manager one cohesive story. If there was something you feel needs an explanation, write about it in your cover letter. And this is a good example of a cover letter. It has a heading, a salutation, an opening paragraph, a second paragraph, a third paragraph, a closing paragraph, a formal closing, and postscript. And one thing a lot of people forget is to write a thank you email. Knowing how to write a thank you email after an interview is priceless. It's not enough to write a great resume and ace an interview. The show isn't over until you've also written a thoughtful thank you email. The key takeaway: you can define resume as simply a list of features, but it should be a list of benefits you provide to the employer. Yes, you are a product and you need to sell yourself. It can be easy to forget small details when you're trying to figure out how to write a great resume. But if you follow these resume tips and tricks, you can rest assured that you're on the right track. Need help, feeling overwhelmed, or just need help getting started? The library can guide you through the process and help you access these following job resources: Indeed, Monster, Career Builder, Job, Ladders, and Best Trade Schools. Contact me at my email address or call 765-628-3534. Good luck with your resume.